Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rank 'Em. Today is going to be a fun one. We're talking about the top shelf cameos in movies. But I've got a great panel here as well. Over to my side, I've got Brian. Brian, how's it going?
It's doing good. With stuff narrowing down to one cameo per movie. So yeah, it's good to hear what other people think of their favorite cameos are.
Also here we've got Chad. Chad, how's it going?
Hey, it's going great. I'm excited to be on Rank 'Em again. Going through a lot of these, there's a ton of cameos out there, so I'm excited to see what everybody else came up with.
In my Mount's Wisdom, I've decided to create confusion because I've got two Kevins here. But first, I've got Kevin Moreno. Kevin, how's it going?
I am doing quite well. I'm really excited for this. This is my first time doing Rankums here, and I did have a quick thought of one actor for a movie. First for the movie, I decided to scratch that movie and put the other one in. Hint: it involves Matt Damon.
Hint.
But last but not least, we've got Kevin Poss. Kevin, how's it going?
It's going really well. I'm glad to be back on Rank 'Em. I'm glad we have a full house tonight, so this should be interesting.
But yeah, so we're doing cameos, but I did make it a little bit difficult for my panel this time, and on myself, and that matter because one of the major conditions we're not talking about cameos, because I know a lot of people go, there's a few cameos which they actually end up being a important part of the movie, like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder, for example, is one of those ones that is technically more of a side character than cameo. It is in a lot of that movie, but it's like, so if they're in there for longer than 5 minutes, then it doesn't count as a cameo. There was probably a few exceptions to that, but maybe some come up. I actually do not know. The other one is we could make a whole list of Stanley cameos, so that's going to be a list on its own. But for this, I am going to allow one Stanley cameo on this. So, as I said, like I'm limiting Stanley cameos to one because we can make a whole list of his own cameos. And also, one cameo per movie and no cheating by going the newsroom fight from Anchorman. That's the other one. So you can pick a cameo out of the fights, but you can't just go newsroom fight. There are a few other examples that I was asked about. I've clarified that, and they will probably come. Some of those will come up later. But with that being said, I've got the preamble out the way. Brian, what is the first cameo going to bring up?
First one we'll bring up is for Goldmember, and that is Steven Spielberg. This is like right after the big opening like fake action scene. Then who directs it but none other than Steven Spielberg. It was like so fun seeing him in there in a comedy, and yep, that's my pick for my nomination.
Chad, what do you say about Steven Spielberg in Goldmember?
Oh, yes. Okay. I had to actually just look this up because it's been forever since I've seen this movie. I just looked it up. He's like directing the Goldmember movie that Tom Cruise is in. That's actually kind of brilliant. So yeah, that's fun. I definitely want to say yes to that one.
Kevin, I'll just go Moreno and Poss. Moreno, what do you say about Steven and Goldmember?
I quite surprised by this pick, but I do really like this cameo. This was one of my surprises ones. So I say yes.
But with that, Steven Spielberg from Goldmember does make the list. Poss, what would you have said about Steven from Goldmember?
Yeah, that it's not the first one I think of when I think of Goldmember. You think of Tom Cruise and all the Danny DeVito from the beginning part, or you think of Britney Spears. But the Steven Spielberg cameo is actually really good. It's really funny because he pulls out his Oscar and says, my friend here thinks it's fine the way it is. I think that's hilarious. So that's a really good pick. So yeah, I would have said yes.
Yeah, I mean, like I like the opening scene of Goldmember. Steven Spielberg is not the one I would have gone for. I think his cameo is fine. I preferred Steven Spielberg's appearance in Blues Brothers over Goldmember. But that being, I mean, I would have said no just because I would have nominated Danny DeVito. That one sort of came out of left field.
that was a good one, anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah,
As
Britney
many-
Spears was probably a close second for me when it comes to Goldmember cameos. But that being said, Chad, what is the first cameo you're going to bring up?
All right, so I think I'm going to go with one of my favorites. This is kind of like a collab between director and actor throughout, like director's like filmography, pretty much. I'm gonna go with Bruce Campbell in Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is one of my all-time favorite comic book movies, and I just love Sam Raimi in general. So, like, with everything Evil Dead, Bruce Campbell is just the best to me. So seeing Bruce Campbell come in here and do like a really funny take on like a bouncer basically for a theater, that when he's trying to go see Mary Jane and he just can't, he's late, and then he's like, maybe I can sneak in there and do it, and the guy's like, nah, no, doors closed, not letting you in, doors closed. And then he has to basically sit outside and wait for Mary Jane. And so he can't even try to like get ahead, because of this dude. So I think it's hilarious, and yeah.
Moreno, what do you say about Bruce Campbell from Spider-Man 2?
I bet. It's I think one of his best cameos in the Spider-Man movies. Second is, of course, the one for Spider-Man 3 where he pulls off the fresh accent. So I'm going to say yes.
What do you say about Bruce Campbell from Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, I really love Bruce Campbell just in general. But this is a good one. Him as the usher. I like him as the ring announcer in Spider-Man 1, but this one is a really good one. So I'll go ahead and say yes to this one.
I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot about Bruce Campbell from Spider-Man movies. Full stop. Because I wrote down my list, and this is one that I didn't think about. But yeah, I'm going to say yes. I do like his cameo in Spider-Man 2 over the other ones. For me, it's between his cameo in this or the snooty usher from Spider-Man 3. This is the maitre d' from Spider-Man 3 is what I meant to say.
That is a good one.
But I do like a different cameo from Spider-Man 3, which might come up later. But with that, Brian, what would you have said about Bruce from Spider-Man 2?
I would say yes. I enjoy his cameo, but I enjoy his cameo of Spider-Man 1 more than this one. But I'm okay with the making list.
Right, so we go to Moreno for your first nomination.
My first nomination is I think this was his best cameo in this movie. It's notable, and it's a perfect way to use the one F-bomb in a PG-13 movie, and that's Hugh Jackman in X-Men First Class.
Right. Paul, what do you say about Hugh Jackman in X-Men First Class?
I feel like I'd get reamed if I didn't say yes to this one. But no, I mean, you have to get Hugh Jackman. You have to fit him in there somewhere. And they did an excellent job of just finding a spot. And, he says it all in just those few words. So I love it. Yes, put it on there.
Yeah, this is one that I didn't put it on my list, not because I forgot about it, but because I thought this cameo is a as technically a cheat, just because he's all been this franchise and not really that much of a shocking cameo that just comes out of nowhere. But with that being said, I do like this pick. It is a good cameo. I included it on the thumbnail for a reason. But yeah, I'm gonna say yes. Brian, what would you have said about Hugh Jackman for X-Men First Class?
I would say yes because this is like his only appearance in the whole movie, and also part of the X-Men universe. Like way before, after Origins, and I see him in the film.
And Chad, what would you have said about Hugh Jackman from X-Men First Class?
Yeah, I mean, First Class is a great movie, but like I think for a lot of people, that one cameo just made the movie. And like the rule for like not longer than 5 minutes. This is almost like the shortest cameo I've ever seen, maybe except for one in Deadpool 2. But yeah, this one's great. So,
but Poss, what is your first cameo you can bring up?
The first one I'm going to nominate is, I hope it qualifies because I know the 5-minute thing. I don't know how long this scene is, but it is the watch scene from Pulp Fiction, Christopher Walken scene.
Totally counts.
I think that, I think that's an awesome scene. And if you need just one guy to deliver, with the passion and the just to tell a story like that in a short amount of time, that's your guy.
Yeah, as I see in the chat, I'm not going to go back, pull up the movies, and find out if the cameo is longer than 5 minutes. I'm going to try. But with Christopher Walken from Pulp Fiction, this is one that I do enjoy as a cameo. It's fun. I'm actually going to say no because I don't. It's not overly memorable to me. But Brian, what do you say about Christopher Walken from Pulp Fiction?
I will give it a slight no because there's other cameos out there I would say better than this one.
Chad, what do you say about Walken from Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, this one is a definite yes for me because that's actually on my list too. I saw this one when I was researching, and then I actually watched the entire scene just to make sure. I was like, I don't know how long this damn scene is, but it's like just over 4 minutes, and it's just a great monologue about him telling a story about where he got the watch, and talking about putting it up his ass and shit. So it's hilarious. It's well shot. I love it. So it's great.
But with that, Moreno, you're the decider. Does Walken from Pulp Fiction make the list?
I'm going to go with yes. I think it's a well notable cameo for the movie. Plus, I think another notable cameo is Quentin Tarantino. But there are better cameos from him, I think.
His one's a little divisive.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's on me. There's two I want to bring up, but I'm going to go for one from a movie that is directed by the first guy we got on this list. I'm going to go for a cameo from Hook, not the one you are thinking of.
Oh.
There is a cameo which not a lot of people realize was in this movie. I didn't know about this until recently it was discovered. George Lucas appears in this movie briefly because he is in the scene. It's a very split-second cameo, but he's on the scene on the bridge. I think it's at the end of the movie, but you see him kissing none other than Carrie Fisher. It is a split-second cameo. Whether or not you know it much to want to say yes to it, but George Lucas from Hook is where I'm going. Brian, what do you say about this?
You know what? I thought you were going with another person from Hook as a cameo. Same. I would give it a slight no because you don't really see it that clearly. And there's other cameos from Hook I would say better.
Ed, what do you say about Lucas and Hook?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen Hook in the first place, and I didn't remember this or notice this, and I just looked up stills from the movie, and they have it like them kissing or whatever, like circled, like look, you can tell it's there, kind of. So I don't know. I just kind of feel like it's just a little too obscure to really make it for me. So I would say.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Like as I said, this one was actually recently just come out of. There was in the last few years they actually confirmed that. But Moreno,
cool.
what do you say about George Lucas from Hook?
This one I'm gonna have to probably go with no, mostly because it's like one of those. Like, it's a more of a Where's Waldo cameo.
But Poss, what would you have said about George Lucas from Hook?
I mean, a cameo is a cameo, but I'm in agreement with these guys that this one is a little bit of a. I didn't even know about it, but I think it's a cool fact, a cool little factoid. But yeah, I probably would have gone no.
Yeah, I kind of think that's what happened, but it's why I brought it up first and not saved it till the very end where we already had it bunch on there. Brian, what is your next cameo?
Good call.
Next one I want to bring up is Charlton Heston from Wayne's World 2. The scene is like the parody that to graduate, and like Wayne say, Gorgie, where's Gorgie? So he says like said to the bad actor, can we pick up with this? I know it's a small part, but we can do better than this. And they bring out Charlton Heston. It's one of my favorite cameos.
Chad, what do you say about Charlton Heston from Wayne's World 2?
I remember that now because I was like, wait, what? And then like that's a brilliant joke in that movie. I love that movie so much. So I kind of have to say yes to that one, to be honest, because it's really good.
Moreno, what do you say about Heston from Wayne's World 2?
I think for very tricky for you to look because I've never seen this movie, so I have to go with undecided. Can it be undecided, or do I have to say yes or no?
It's a default no.
Well, yeah. The rule is if you haven't seen it, it doesn't actually count as a no anymore. The votes count from the people who've actually seen the movies.
Oh, okay.
But Kevin, what would you have said about Heston and Wayne's World 2?
Sorry.
To the other Kevin. So.
Yeah, I like this one. Kind of forgot about it, but now that it's brought up, I'm thinking back on it. I kind of looked it up. But yeah, it's a great callback. It's a cool moment, and all the where it makes Wayne cry. So I think that's a really funny moment. So I'll give this one a yes.
With that, it does make the list. I haven't seen Wayne's World 2. I've seen the first one, but not this one yet. But it ultimately doesn't matter. But and with that, we go to Chad for the next nomination.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with one of my favorites of all time, and this is Bob Barker from Happy Gilmore. I mean, I rewatched it just to make sure. It's definitely under 5 minutes, and it's so perfect, this scene to where he's trying to hit the ball. Bob Barker's getting annoyed. It's like calling him out, like you're not doing this right or whatever. And then they just like he beats the shit out of a game show host. Well, he tries to, and then he gets the shit beat out of him by this really, really old man. And I mean, dude, like he says, "The price is wrong, bitch." It's one of the best lines in the whole movie. So I mean, I don't know. It's just a great cameo there.
Moreno, what do you say about Bob Barker from Happy Gilmore?
Oh, I say yes. I love his cameo in this movie. I put him on my list as well. But my favorite part of it is at the end of his cameo, he said, "Like, I think now you had enough." bitch. And I just laughed on the floor laughing at that. Hearing Barker just cuts him out. It's hilarious.
Poss, what do you say about Bob Barker from Happy Gilmore?
Yeah, this one was also on my list. This is an easy one for me. Happy Gilmore is a go-to movie for me, and I love the Barker scene. So the price is definitely wrong, bitch.
But yeah, I'm not a fan of Happy Gilmore. I really don't like the movie. But this Cameo is fine. I would give it a really reluctant yes. Brian, what would you have said about Bob Barker?
Well, this gets the hell of yes for me. I really love this cameo, and the fact that a few years ago they reunited this cameo in, like, one of the Comedy Central specials.
I kind of want to watch Malcolm's face when he watches that cameo, and just have him go at the end of it.
I mean, by the time it comes up, like as I said, I'm not a big fan of the movie. By the time it comes up, it just means nothing to me, really.
Right.
Moreno, what is your next cameo?
My next cameo is I find it so hilarious still. Mostly because if you look at him now to this movie, it's still weird, and that it's Matt Damon in Eurotrip. Him saying guys doesn't know, it's just still one of those, like, what?
Price, what do you say about Matt Damon from Eurotrip?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say no to this one. This is a classic one for me. Right at the time I was coming up, I didn't even know it was him for the longest time because he's shaved head, earrings, and piercings and everything. But it's just awesome because he's just totally stealing his girlfriend right in front of him. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Is it his best cameo? I'm not 100% sure, but I'll go ahead and say yes to this one.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen Eurotrip. I've seen photos of this cameo, and it's one of those ones that, I mean, I'm ultimately going to, like, I'm not really going to say anything about this because I don't know the context of this cameo. But it's one of those ones that there is better Matt Damon cameos. But in saying that, there could be model. I only said one per movie. I didn't say only one per actor. So
Sure.
keep that in mind. Brian.
I was saying no. There's a better Matt Damon cameo I prefer more than this one.
Which means Chad is the deciding vote.
Oh man! Oh no! So the thing about this is I don't actually love this movie. It's just not my type of humor. However, you know, the list I think has to be it has to represent like a kind of general consensus of like what people generally think are great cameos. And there's a lot of people older than me who, you know, knew more about like Matt Damon's like trajectory of like being a critical actor and stuff like that, like an A-lister. And then he does something like this, like way out of nowhere, out of left field. And it like blew everybody's minds that he would actually stoop to it, I guess, kind of. And then it started like the train of Matt Damon cameos, I feel like. So I have to say yes to it.
But with that, Matt Damon from Eurotrip makes this list, and Anthony Tisdale can not burn the place down now because he told me yesterday after we did late, and I was like, Matt Damon from Eurotrip better make the list, otherwise it's incomplete.
He was gonna be Milton from Office Space. You're welcome, Anthony.
But Poss, what is your next cameo going to bring up?
Since it's filling up pretty quickly, I'm going to go ahead and throw this one out there. It is Hulk Hogan from Gremlins 2, The New Batch. I love the theater scene where the Gremlins are raising hell up in the booth, and they call on none other than the Hulkster to go and wrangle them up and get them out of there. So I thought it was just a really cool moment, and Hulkamania was really running wild at that point. So thought it was a really appropriate cameo.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan from Gremlins 2 is a fine cameo. I'm saying no because there is another cameo from this movie which I think is more memorable and may have been reprised in some different form of entertainment. Brian, what do you say about Hulk Hogan from Gremlins 2?
I would say yes. I enjoy this cameo. It's a great way of breaking the fourth wall. Say and yep, I would say yes.
Chad, what do you say about Hulk Hogan from Gremlins 2?
I was literally back and forth in my head because I almost put this one on my list, but I did end up putting the other one, and I don't know if it's the same one Malcolm's thinking of. But I think there's another one I'd like to nominate more, although it is a really funny fourth wall breaking cameo, and I really Gremlins 2 is great, but I'm gonna say no for now.
Moreno, you're the deciding on this. Hulk Hogan from Gremlins 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably go no because I like better the other cameo, which I think probably gonna know. Wait, I might know. Answer the phone.
But with that being said, it's on me. I'm not going to bring up the other one just yet because I think this list would be incomplete if I don't bring up another director cameo. He's cameoed in a lot of things, a lot of his own stuff, but the cameo I am talking about is Peter Jackson as Santa in Hot Fuzz. This is a cameo which took me a while to realise, hang on, that's Peter Jackson. He didn't do a lot in this cameo, but it's still fun enough to bring it up and get it on this list. I kind of would like to know how this came about, whether Peter Jackson just happened to be in this over there someday. It's like, you want to be in my movie? Oh, yeah, sure. I'm sure. But Brian, what do you say about Peter Jackson in Hot Fuzz?
Of course, Malcolm will bring up Peter Jackson's one of the most running gags in Rankum. I would say a no because there's other cameos I'd like to bring up more.
Chad, what do you say about Peter Jackson from Hot Fuzz?
Yeah, this is actually on my list. I definitely have to say yes to this one. If I can get an Edgar Wright movie on a list, I'm going to try. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of get it if someone would say no because it's hilarious, but you don't know right away that it's him. But does that really matter? And it's like Father Christmas stabbed me in the hand, and it's a well-known director. I think it's great. So yes.
Kevin, what do you say about Peter Jackson from Hot Fuzz?
Look, this was tricky, but I think I did not expect Peter Jackson to be in this movie. I'm gonna have to probably go with yes on this one.
And it makes the list. Pass, what would you have said about Peter Jackson from Hot Fuzz?
100% yes. I like Cate Blanchett being in it, but you can't see her face. She's at the crime scene. Edgar Wright's also there. So there's a lot of cameos in that movie, but that is hands down the best one. And being stabbed in the hand by a man dressed as Father Christmas is a hilarious line too. Yeah. So yeah, I would have said yes.
Brian, we go to you for your next nomination.
For me, I'll go bring up Dan Aykroyd for Casper. It's a quick scene where they're investigating the house from ghosts and who showed up, but one of the Ghostbusters himself, Ray Stantz, says, "Who you recall? Somebody else." So that's my pick. Let's see what other people say.
Chad, what do you say about Dan Aykroyd from Casper?
Yeah, I don't really have time to look this one up, but I didn't remember this. This is actually, I think, one of the first movies I ever saw in a theater. But I definitely don't remember that. But that sounds amazing. But I think because it's not that memorable, I'm just gonna have to say no.
Moreno, what do you say about Dan Aykroyd from Casper?
Oh, I say yes. I like repeatedly watching Casper. And I think it's a cute movie, and seeing his cameo and him like running from the ghost, and seeing who are you gonna call someone else? I find that funny. So I say yes.
Poss, what do you say about Dan Aykroyd from Casper?
I'm kind of on the same thought process as Chad. I didn't remember this, so with there being few spots left and that it not being it didn't stick out to me, so I'm gonna say no. But it does sound cool though.
Yeah, I love Casper. Like, this is one of the first movies I went to the theaters to go see. But I'm gonna have to say no, as much as I hate to do this. So I actually had rewatched this recently, and I love that cameo. I just think it's a lot. We're at the point where it's going to get cutthroat. There's a lot of good cameos out there. I don't think this is the top 12.
This is where we get pickier.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, we've already got a few cameos in which people are reprising characters reprised before. So, Chad, what is your next nomination?
It's actually kind of hard. There's a lot. All right, I'm gonna go with. Shit, there's like two that I really want to go with. Oh, hold on. Sorry. All right, I'll go with my heart, I guess, here, and it's probably not going to make it on, but I'm going to say Billy Idol and The Wedding Singer.
Yes.
So, like, this is a great romantic comedy, in my opinion. This, I grew up with Adam Sandler, and like this was one. Even though I was like a little boy, it's still hilarious to me, despite being like one of the romantic ones. But like at the end of the movie, when he's on the plane, like Billy Idol, not only just shows up randomly, and he's like, "Oh, hey, Billy Idol," but like basically, he helps him get the girl at the end. So. I think this one's great. So the other thing too is because she's flying somewhere with her fiance who is terrible, and then she's sitting on the aisle seat, and she's like, oh, I don't like when the cart hits my elbows, and he's like, oh, well, I don't care, basically, because he's an asshole, and so he doesn't switch with her, and then at one point, Billy Idol rams the cart into him. So I just feel like that's pretty awesome too. So all right, sorry I went on too long.
Moreno, what do you say about Billy Idol from The Wedding Singer?
I say yes. I really love this cameo. Billy Idol's awesome, and especially love I think at the guy like it comes Billy Idol the fin, he's like, "Hey, you don't talk that way to Billy."
That's right.
So yeah, I say yes to this one.
Poss, what do you say about Billy Idol from The Wedding Singer?
Yeah, I think I'm going to say yes to this one. This one was on my list, my short list, so I'm going to say yes to this one.
Yeah, I would have said no to this. I love The Wedding Singer. This cameo is not the first thing I think of when I think of The Wedding Singer. I didn't think it's like that's a good movie. But yeah, Brian, what would you have said about Billy Idol from The Wedding Singer?
For me, I would say a slight yes. I enjoy his cameo, and it's like what they said, like, hey, that you don't say that way to Billy Idol.
But with that, Moreno, we go to you for your next nomination.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure we got a big list right now, and I think I want to get this name out of the way so we can at least. I'm pretty sure it's going to go probably a few rounds, and that is Stanley in Captain Marvel. I think it's a really sweet and adoring cameo, especially with him reading the Mallrats script. So I'm good with that one. I think out of all the many ones, I picked that one. That means the most to me.
Poss, what do you say about Stan Lee for Captain Marvel?
Man, that's tough. I mean, with that being his last one, it does kind of hit a little harder. And I do love the crossing of worlds with the Viewers universe. I'm gonna have to say no because there are other Stanley cameos that I like better. But that is a good one though.
Yeah, so it's for me, if we're going to pick one Stanley cameo for this, I think this is a good one to go. As much as I love his cameo in Spider-Man 3, his cameo in Spider-Verse and all that, this one does mean a lot because like it's not like it's a very big secret that Stan Lee is in Mallrats, but this cameo does bring the best of both worlds and showing him on his way to potentially form a scene in Mallrats. So I'm going to say yes. Brian, what do you say about Stan Lee from Captain Marvel?
I was saying no because there's better Stanley cameos out there compared to this one.
Chad, what do you say about you're the decider on this?
Yeah, I know. This is frustrating. Damn it, dude. I mean, it is really great. Like, when he said Captain Marvel, I was like, wait. And then I remember like the whole story, like, you know, about like Kevin Smith was telling and stuff about like actually having to like approve it and stuff. And I think he thought that he was going to be in the movie at one point, and they were like, "Nah, we just want to use this for the Stanley cameo, I guess." There is one more in my head, but I'll say yes to it. I think it swayed me from what Malcolm, and actually, even though he said no, what Kevin said, it being like his last one, I think that's pretty special.
Well, I mean, it was his last one that he filmed, I believe, because I don't know.
No, his last one was Endgame.
Yeah, well, his last appearance is Endgame, but that could, I mean, for all we know, that could have been a computers created one that it's that one's hard to tell, but regardless,
it still harkens back to like an early career performance from Stan Lee too, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean
that's true.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones like we don't know what order Stan Lee filmed his final cameos in either, so yeah.
I probably would have nominated the Tony Stank one though.
See, that's the one. That's exactly the one I was thinking of too.
It was that. It was that, or Deadpool, or even I think one of my favorite ones was actually the Mallrats.
But with that being said, Pass, we go to you for your next nomination.
All right, coming down to the wire. This is tough. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Chuck Norris from Dodgeball. I think he kind of ties the movie together. Nobody really expected to see that. Him giving the thumbs up, you know, for to complete the win for the average Joes. So yeah, it's just I mean, I hope it's top 12 worthy to you guys, but yeah, it's one kind of dangling on my list here. So we'll see if it flies.
Look, Chuck Norris can try and get on this list with no one voting for him. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm saying no to Chuck Norris. I really don't remember this cameo from Dodgeball at all. I love the movie, but yeah, I'm saying no. Brian, what do you say about Chuck Norris from Dodgeball?
I would say yes. This is one of my favorite cameos of all time. Also, like at the end movie with Ben Stiller said, "Damn you, Chuck Norris."
Chad, what do you say about Chad? What do you say?
I'm pretty sure it actually says "fucking Chuck Norris" when he's like really fat and stuff.
That's it.
I was debating whether or not to, because this is on my list. I was debating whether or not to bring this one up or some others, because there's a tight like 4 on there that I want. However, I don't even know if it's going to come back to me. So I'm definitely just going to say yes to this one because, you know, it is great. Just like, you know, Chuck Norris just popping up as a random judge doing the thumbs up. And then, you know, he basically like the entire villain of the movie. I feel like he doesn't go on the path that he does and, you know, get his comeuppance, I guess, if Chuck Norris isn't there. So
right. But with that being said, Chuck Norris does make this list. Moreno, what would you have said?
I think this would have been tough for me to say. Most of the people like it was this or Lance Armstrong for me, just for the irony of. But I would have most likely said yes.
But yeah, which leaves one spot left. It's on me. Yay. Which means I'm going to go for a cameo, which surprised me when this person came up on screen in a superhero movie for a very split second. It is Brad Pitt from Deadpool 2. This is one of those cameos in which you had no idea it was coming because all you knew was in the X-Force there was this invisible man, and there was just there was part of the team, and then when the whole team started to die, gets electrocuted, Brad Pitt pops up for literally a split second, and then dies. This is just a fun cameo. I never thought I'd ever see Brad Pitt in a superhero movie before, although I do think it was in Megamind, but this is a first big one that. But Brian, what do you say about Brad Pitt from Deadpool 2?
I would say no because we have one spot left. There's other cameos to talk about more.
Chad, what do you say about Brad Pitt from Deadpool 2?
For the same reasons as what he just said, it's great, but like it is kind of a split second, and you know it could have been anybody. I don't know. I guess it was great that it was Brad Pitt. But yeah, I'm gonna say no because it's just one spot left and it's not on my list.
Moreno, what do you say about Brad Pitt from Deadpool 2?
I'm gonna go the opposite route of them and say yes because I think this last spot is perfect for Brad Pitt in this one. It's a small second, but it is the best small second a cameo can do with this.
Which means, Hoss, it's on you. Does Brad Pitt from Deadpool 2 make this list?
Oh man, this is a hilarious cameo too when he gets revealed. I'm gonna say yes. I loved it, and it's the first thing I think of when I think of Deadpool 2. Just that whole scene of them dying. So I can't not say yes to that.
But with that being said, we've come to the list at the end of the short list run. We'll get to ranking in a bit. Just to recap what made the list: Spielberg from Goldmember, Bruce Campbell from Spider-Man 2, Hugh Jackman from X-Men First Class, Christopher Walken from Pulp Fiction, Charlton Heston from Major 2, Bob Barker from Happy Gilmore, Matt Damon from Eurotrip, Peter Jackson from Hot Fuzz, Billy Idol from The Wedding Singer, Stanley from Captain Marvel, Chuck Norris from Dodgeball, and Brad Pitt from Deadpool 2. Brian, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
I had a lot. I'll just give you. Had Keith Richards from Outworld's End, Jack Black from Walk Hard, Ozzy Osbourne from Little Nicky, Elton John from Kingsman. I don't know how that would go. Steve Martin from the Muppet Movie. I had Christopher Lloyd midway Die West, and I had Jerry Springer from Spider Shine Me.
Chad, what did you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I did. There are some few that I actually really think this one deserves to be on the list, but I didn't. I should have brought this one up. It was actually Bruce Willis from Split, because everyone was losing their minds when that happened, and they were like, oh, "Is this going to be like a trilogy type of thing now?" Because it wasn't. They didn't know, but yeah, that one's brilliant. David Bowie and Zoolander. That one's hilarious. And then the other one that we didn't get to, I probably should have said yes to Kevin's pick, but the Gremlins 2 would have been Leonard Maltin, because he's reviewing Gremlins in it, and that's brilliant. It's so meta. And then the last few, I'll just rattle these ones off: Luke Wilson in Scream 2, Stephen King in It Chapter 2, Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street, and Johnny Depp in 21 Jump Street, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Airplane.
Moreno, did you have any honorable mentions?
Yes, I had Will Smith's Anchorman 2. Out of all the Anchorman actors, I picked Will Smith because I like this. David Bowie's Zoolander. Michael Sheen's Part Shot Part Deux, because of like the Wall Street reference at the. It's
go by each other.
Yeah,
I loved you in Wall Street.
David Hasselhoff in SpongeBob the movie. Mullen Rewalt in Not Another Teen Movie. Mike Tyson The Hangover. Bill Murray in Zombieland, and of course Bob Saget in Half Baked.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Poss, do you have any honorable mentions?
I do. I had Daniel Craig as a stormtrooper in The Force Awakens. Elon Musk in Iron Man 2. The Jonas Brothers as the Cherubs in Night at the Museum 2.
Oh yeah.
Mike Myers in Bohemian Rhapsody. Bill Murray in Dumb and Dumber 2. And Neil Patrick Harris in Harold and Kumar.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah, I had Mike Myers on my list for Bohemian Rhapsody too. I didn't bring it up for the reason that that one was a tricky one, because he was technically not even though it was only a small cameo, he was still a character in the movie as well. So that was a tricky one to distinguish for me. But other ones I had, like if Peter Jackson Hot Fuzz didn't make this, I probably would have tried for one of his Lord of the Ring ones. I actually had John C. Reilly from Anchorman 2 as the ghost of Stonewall Jackson.
Yeah.
The better Matt
That's the
Damon.
girl Stonewall Jackson?
The better Matt Damon cameo is for Ragnarok.
Yeah.
I agree.
I had Jimmy Buffett from Jurassic World, the sequel of Margaritaville. You see him as a cameo holding glasses of margaritas.
That's a great call.
Channing Tatum from This Is the End. I did have Glenn Close on Hook on my list. Jeff Bezos from Star Trek Beyond. Ryan Reynolds from Harold Kumar Go to White Castle. One that I'm not too sure if it would have counted as a cameo or not. I was considering Vern Troyer from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone when he played Rip Hook. But
he was just the body, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's tricky because I'm not. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure they did say Brock was the voice, but he was still the physical form. I don't bring it up for that reason. Danny Pudi from Winter Soldier, basically any of the cameo community of an MCU, basically. John Hurt from Spaceballs.
That's a great one.
And I had Orson Welles from the Muppet Movie, and I had Mike Tyson from Hangover Part 2, singing One Night in Bangkok. But with that being said, we've got the ones we've considered to be in our top 12, but now we get to the voting part, so we're going to write down on a bit of paper or whiteboard on what we want at 12.
This is gonna be hard.
What is that pit?
It's very hard, actually. I think you got to come up with your own criteria.
It's all
Alright.
gotta be really
I know,
hard.
right?
Well, that's the thing. Like, everyone's got their own criteria, but it's going to be interesting to see whose criteria crosses over for how it's decided. But Brian, who do you have for 12?
Just because there for a quick second, Brad Pitt.
Chad,
I said Matt Damon. I don't love the movie.
Moreno,
I was trying to look for a pen, but I was gonna probably go with Charlton Heston.
Poss,
I also went with Charlton Heston.
I actually had Chuck Norris, but Charlton Heston is going to be number 12. But Chad, who do you have for 11?
Yeah, I changed it. I'm gonna go with Brad Pitt this time. It is really a short one.
Moreno, what do you have for 11?
I had Matt Damon.
Poss,
I went with Brad Pitt.
I'm sticking with Chuck Norris. Brian,
Hugh Jackson.
Oh, okay.
but Brad Pitt from Deadpool 2 is going to be at 11, with Matt Damon just slipping in there because Chad changed his vote. Moreno, who do you have for 10?
This time I had Chuck Norris.
Poss,
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris, Brian,
Matt Damon.
and
Probably
Chad.
gonna be Chuck Norris because I also had Matt Damon. Actually, that would have been a great cameo. Well, it wasn't actually Matt Damon.
I mean, yeah, if it was actually
Yeah, I was gonna
him,
say. We just do
another
best
cameo
public
I was
movie.
actually almost considering but chose not to was also Bruce Willis, but from the Lego Movie 2.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
I mean, it's one of those cameos that unless you realize it was actually him doing the voice and not a impersonator, then it is actually really fun.
Actually, one of the cameos I originally thought of was Timothy Oliphant in Rango.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
But Poss, who do you have for 9?
Went with Matt Damon.
As much as I hate doing this, but I agree with a lot of people. He does have a few better cameos. I put Stanley. Brian.
Peter Jackson.
Chad.
Yeah, Matt Damon.
Man Moreno.
That's it, man.
Nice. Hmm.
I'm sticking with Stanley. Brian.
Say Peter Jackson.
Chad.
Yeah, I'm good with Peter Jackson here. It's very short.
Moreno.
Christopher Walken.
Poss.
I went with Billy Idol.
Peter Jackson is going to be it, mate. But Brian, who do you have for 7?
Just because there's other cameos by him, Stanley.
Chad.
Oh, yeah, I changed it to Billy Idol. I'm fine with that placement.
Moreno.
Steven Spielberg.
And Poss.
I stuck with Billy Idol.
I had Bob Barker. Billy Idol from The Wedding Singer is going to be at 7. Just to recap what got left, got Spielberg from Goldmember, Bruce Campbell from Spider-Man 2, Hugh Jackman from First Class, Christopher Walken from Pulp Fiction, Bob Barker from Happy Gilmore, and Stanley from Captain Marvel. And Chad, who do you have at 6?
Yeah, I'm fine with Steven Spielberg here.
Moreno.
Bruce Campbell.
Poss.
I think that's fair for Bob Barker.
And I'm going Bob Barker. Brian.
Hugh Jackman.
Damn it.
2 cameos from Adam Sandler movies back to back on this list. Moreno, who do you have at set 5?
Steven Spielberg.
Poss.
Steven Spielberg.
Just because I do think this cameo is a little bit of a cheat, just because it's still the same universe. Hugh Jackman. Brian.
Yeah, I think Stanley is good at number 5.
And Chad.
Changed it to Spielberg.
What's left?
We have Hugh Jackman, Stanley,
Bruce Campbell.
Christopher Walken, and Bruce Campbell. Poss, who do you have at 4?
Mr. Bruce Campbell.
I went Hugh Jackman. Brian.
Hugh Jackman.
I wrote down Stanley, but I'm changing it to Hugh Jackman because
Moreno.
Hey, Christopher Walken.
Right. But we've got Christopher Walken, Bruce Campbell, and Stan Lee. And I think this is a good place for Stan Lee. Brian.
Bruce Campbell.
Chad.
I agree with Malcolm.
Moreno.
Christopher Walken.
And Poss.
Bruce Campbell.
So, Moreno. Bruce Campbell or Stan Lee at 3.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Bruce Campbell.
Called it. I knew that because you said the first one you liked more, and Stanley was your choice.
Yeah, this was legally.
It is the culmination of like all of his cameos, though. I feel like is what he's winning for.
Oh yeah. But this time instead of putting your number 2, we're going straight to number 1 because the other one will become number 2 by default.
I think I know what I was gonna say.
But Chad.
Oh shit. Sorry. I went Christopher Walken, number 1.
Moreno.
Stan Lee.
Poss.
Yeah, I went Mr. Cameo himself, Stanley.
Even though I did try putting Stanley a little bit lower and thinking about it, between him and Walken, I do think his cameo, Captain Marvel, was a lot better than. So I'm going to Stanley. Brian.
The King Cameos himself, Stan the Man Lee.
Damn it! I'm only defector.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those ones like
I totally meant to say Stan Lee.
Yeah, right.
But with that being said, we have reached the end once I've finished typing in the last banner. This is what our list is. At number 12, we've got Charlton Heston from Wayne's 2. At 11, we've got Bradford from Deadpool 2. At 10, we've got Chuck Norris from Dodgeball, A True Underdog Story. At 9, we've got Matt Damon from Eurotrip. At 8, we've got Peter Jackson from Hot Fuzz. At 7, we've got Billy Idol from The Wedding Singer. At 6, we've got Bob Barker from Happy Gilmore. At 5, we've got Steven Spielberg from Austin Powers Goldmember. 4, we've got Hugh Jackman from X-Men First Class. 3, we've got Bruce Campbell from Spider-Man 2. Christopher Walken from Pulp Fiction is 2. And Stan Lee from Captain Marvel is 1. But ultimately, this was a fun list to do. And as goes so there's a lot of cameos out there, and with a different panel, this list could be entirely different. But if that being said, I'm going to go around the board, see what people have to plug. Brian, anything you want to plug?
Sure, I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Find us all. I put on Friday. You can see me on tier fights hosted by Jordan. And yep, that's all I can plug.
But Chad, where can people find you online?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I try to do fan leaks a lot of the times, and I also do some letterbox reviews and rankings and stuff like that. I think it's Chad or CWeb1534 Chadwick_Web, something like that. You can find me in there.
Kevin, anything? Moreno, anything you want to plug?
Blue Lantern 18 on Twitter. Darkman19 on Instagram. Weeks ago, I did Fantasy Film Fight Sports 2 on Feature Presentation Productions.
And other Kevin, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, absolutely. Come check us out over at TMG Trivia. We are starting back up our singles division. Geek is getting ready to start back up in March. We'll be kicking off with our new champion. Check out our videos for the tournament to see who the champion is going to be crowned. So our new champion will have to defend his title coming up pretty soon here.
And tomorrow, and you can find me on Take 3 Productions hosting Late Night Take 3 when I decide to do it. And Rankum, Rankum is every Saturday. But next week the topic will be whatever you vote on from the options I put on. You can also find me over on Full Metal or Full Metal Random. This week's match is Bull Cariola versus Ryan O'Regan versus Trace Geyer in Mel Brooks movies. And tomorrow, as part of Trivia for Fun number 3, I'm hosting Full Metal Classic as always on Sunday. There's a lot of other things happening. Like there's a couple of pre-recorded Full Metal randoms. We got Star Wars Rebels match, and we've got a MMA match. Features presentation of multiplex. All the other fan leagues all have something going on. I think there's a sports match for TMG. A lot of stuff. I don't have the voting details on the donation details on hand, but you can all. Nico will be promoting it all throughout tomorrow. You can find it on his personal Twitch stream. I think it's streaming on his Facebook. He's wherever if you're friends with Nico on Facebook, he will. You'll already know. You already know where to do all this. But with that being said, that is all from here. Until next time, keep listening, shit, everyone. As I go to end the